everybody. Welcome to Connecting with Jennifer Filzen. Today I have with me MaryTherese Griffin, who is a host on the Daily Ad Brief. She has her own show. She interviewed me. I'm now hosting the Market and Beyond show. So it's like I'm in with the cool kids, and MaryTherese is one of those awesome cool kids. So, of course, I had to invite her and introduce her to you. So, welcome, MaryTherese.
Thank you, Jennifer. It is a privilege to be here. And hey, by the way, all the cool kids are on Daily Ad Brief.
Yeah, it's true. There are so many cool kids. So many cool kids. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Let's talk about what you do for a career and
Sure.
what makes you special and unique in that life. And then how did you get onto Daily Ad Brief? Like, connect the dots for us.
Well, I have always been a broadcaster. I started out in radio back in the day, and I spent, 20 plus years as a TV news anchor and was embedded with the troops overseas for about 11 years. And I mean,
Wow.
I have been very, very blessed to do a very, very cool gig my whole adult life. And when I hate to say the word retired, but I did retire from television. I missed it, and when I retired, I started writing children's books, and then we can talk about that because I'm still doing that.
That's awesome.
That's what I want to do when I grow up, right?
Right on.
But I ended up running into a former colleague, and she was like, "Hey, you're a great writer. The Army could really use you." And I thought, I did a Scooby Doo. I was like, "Huh?" So I started writing stories for a division of the Army that focuses on wounded, injured, and ill soldiers. And I am now back with that organization working their social media. And it's just the greatest privilege ever to be able to tell the stories of these wounded, injured, and ill soldiers, which we could have a whole separate discussion about that. So, in the interim of doing all of this, I also host a show called Media Champions, as you know, with our parent company, Simplify and Daily Ad Brief, trying to connect dots with people, grow this community because we're all communicators, right? Some people just do it better than others. You kind of have to help everybody out, and that's kind of what we do. So, but you had a question in there besides that. Um,
Well, how did you find them? So it was okay, so you were TV news anchor,
mhm,
getting in with the troops. That's amazing. Then you start
mhm,
this storytelling through children's books and writing. Wow. Okay, you're right. I want
mhm.
to unpack so much. Writing is so much fun, isn't it? I love writing.
I love it.
And then you were invited to be part of the daily ad brief. So I think you really did answer the question of what makes you special and unique. You've had these amazing experiences, and because you are such an amazing communicator, wow, what a perfect individual to be doing all the cool stuff.
I am blessed beyond measure, Jennifer. I mean, I if God called me home tomorrow, I could not complain, truly. And I think, for me, I'm one of six children. I have five brothers, and my mother always said that I'm the one kid that she has that was born with the joy gene. Um, Not sure why God gave it to me, but to quote my mother who has no filter at 79, she said, of all my kids, from the day you were born, you're always the one that wakes up a happy ass. That's me. That's me. And I find the joy in everything I do. And let's face it, even when I worked in news, I would say 75% of what I did in news was pretty horrible, bad news, not the best information to convey, but I always tried to find the positive in it or find a positive outcome from it. And again, I think it was just that joy gene that for whatever reason God said, I'm going to give you the joy gene. And thank goodness he did because it's definitely made my journey that much sweeter.
Wow. Oh my goodness, you are inspiring me. So, what is your why? Now, we all grow up and we have our path, right? And we're led by a higher power or some
Sure.
incident that started when we were kids or whatever. You being of such a big family and the joyful girl of the whole group, boy, that must have been fun. What is your
I
why
I had I
now?
had my share I had my share of getting my ass kicked growing up. I just want you to know.
Right. Without a doubt.
I truly did. Yeah.
I, if anything, that probably readied you for working with the troops and doing
You
everything.
think?
A little bit, yeah, yeah. You could
Yeah.
take a ribbon, but there are times where I'm sure that it hasn't always been that easy, especially when you're delivering the bad news on camera to your
Oh, of
community,
course.
or you are facing a very, very difficult day as you are embedded in a troop situation, not in a peaceful situation. So,
Mhm.
what is the why that gets you out of bed doing all of these extraordinary things every day?
To not sound like a cliche, but let me sound like a cliche. Um, I I look at anything that I do that's considered a talent, you know, the ability to speak, the ability to communicate, the ability to interview people, to be able to talk in front of people. I've recognized that that's really hard for a lot of people to do. It's a talent from God, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, talent on loan from God, right? And and when I wake up every day, no matter where I am in my life, no matter what age I've been or where I've been in the world, I just want to make that day better than the day before. And I want to make it a better day for whoever I encounter. It's kind of that whole concept of leave it better than you found it. And I've always felt that way, even as a little kid. If there was somebody that was being mean on the playground, I was going to go straight up to that kid and I was going to make him smile and I was going to make him laugh. That was just, and don't ask me where that came from. True story. When my husband and I were living up in DC several years ago, um, I was in between contracts for work and I had some downtime. And believe it or not, I was an Uber driver for about a month and a half at Christmas time up in that area. And man, it was the best way to learn the streets of downtown DC, you
Right.
know? And I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I got to tell you, it was very eye opening, probably more so for some of my customers that I picked up because it was Christmas time. I had my Santa hat, I had my box of, Christmas candy. And my goal every day, I was going to make anybody that had a frown on their face or was just feeling crappy, I was going to make them smile. 95% of the time it worked. But I'm here to tell you, there were a couple in my car that, told me to F off. Oh yeah.
Wow.
And my response was always, wow, somebody's Wheaties got peed in today, But I
Oh,
thought, I'm not gonna let it, bring me down. But all I kept thinking to myself was, they must really have something that's just, it's just really bringing them down. And I pray for them,
yeah, yeah.
we are on this planet for such a short time. Seriously, there's
Mm,
not there shouldn't be any amount of time, significant amount of time, focused on harboring ill feelings or being rude to people. That's just one thing as a Southerner that just really gets in my craw. You know,
you
I
know,
mean, seriously, the rudeness that you see in some people, why? Why?
why?
If your mama were standing there, would you do that? You know?
Right.
So, I mean, there's not a lot in this world that upsets me, and there is a lot in this world that impresses me. I get impressed by the smallest things because there's beauty in everything that you encounter. If you would just open your eyes a little bit more and look for it, you'd be amazed.
Wow. Okay. Whatever joy juice you have, please market it and make it available. Pretty please. 'Cause
Sure.
I
Why not?
too am very happy and joyful, but I feel like I'm meeting another ray of sunshine. It's fantastic. Isn't it wonderful to go through life where people think that you're on drugs, but no, 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 that's just you.
Do you
Right.
know that is the God's truth? It is. And people will want to know, what are you smoking? What are you
All the
doing?
time. I get that all the time.
Yeah, and I can see that about you too, ma'am, because the first time I interviewed you, I thought, wow, she is so positive and so organized. And I mean, it's like people gravitate to you, which is, I'm sure, why you're as successful as you are doing what you do for a living. But yeah, don't you wish we could just kind of bottle this and market it? And
Wouldn't that
I'd
be
give it
fun?
away for free. I would. I'd give if I
Right.
knew it would change the world, I would just give it away. I don't want to deal with icky people. I mean, I will, but I want
Yeah.
to turn them. I want to turn them.
Well, if you can turn that frown upside down, whatever
Yeah,
that looks like, customer service, saying something nice, um, lifting their heavy burden, whatever that is, emotionally or physically,
exactly.
and it's funny that you mentioned Uber. Okay, because fun stuff, true
Hmm.
fact, happening right now. Of of course, my marketing agency is super successful. I'm busy, but I'm like, yeah, I got a little bit of time to spare. A friend of mine owns a pizza parlor, and he's short staffed. He's like, Jen, I can't find drivers. I'm like, I'll deliver pizzas. So on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights, I deliver pizzas. And the best
Good
part,
on you, Jen. That's
I'm saving,
awesome.
I'm saving all that money and I'm applying it to my next vacation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, as
And
you should.
yeah, and also too, it is fun. It is fun. I know my neighborhood so well because I live in Monterey, California. I walk these streets all the time, but we have so many little buildings that are nooks and crannies. And like, I'm showing up at apartment complexes where I've walked past them multiple times. I'm like, I had no idea you were here. Or I can tell a neighbor like, your house is so cute. I admire your house every single day, and now I get to finally meet you. And little stuff like, I brought you plates so you don't have to do dishes tonight. And they're like, thank you. I mean, you're right.
Right.
It's this little, and here's the best part of it. Yeah, I'm helping a friend in his pizza parlor. Yes, I'm saving some money for my little Italian, Spanish, and French vacation, possibly a cruise, not sure yet. But what really I enjoy about it is it has nothing to do with my marketing business. I get to completely get out of my day to day thought process, focus on something completely different, and experience something that I can kind of turn my brain off.
You know what, though? I'm going to respectfully disagree with you there, Missy, because I think it is a continuation of marketing you, even subconsciously, because you're marketing the human spirit. That's what I think you're
Oh, I
doing.
like
When
that.
because you're not keeping you bottled inside anywhere. You're still putting it out there. And when people respond with the, "Oh wow, yeah, I didn't have to cook tonight." That right there is changing somebody's life, even if it's in the smallest little way, but in a positive way. So I would think that you're continuing it, but just in a different way and subconsciously, which I think is great.
Oh my God, I love you. Oh. So that brings me to my next question.
Hmm.
We all have somebody that we serve in our life, and that could be a multiple group of somebodies. It could be our
Hmm.
family, it could be our community, it could be our work, it could be that hobby that we love, the veterans that we support, what have you.
Hmm.
List, if you don't mind, who all mean something to you, and who do you serve, and how do you serve them with your beautiful talents and joy?
It is that is probably the easiest question I'm ever asked, and it just rolls off like water. I mean, obviously it's God, it's family, it's church, it's country, and all of those encompass so many things, except for the God part. But it's when I'm working and writing stories for the Army and doing social media for the Army, I serve. I'm serving those who served us and are now wounded, injured, or ill, and it's such a privilege to be able to do that. When I was anchoring the news, I used to think to myself, I worked at a station. It was actually the number one CBS affiliate in the country because they had a higher ratings share than even the stations in New York and LA. I mean, just it was incredible. The because they had longevity and history on their side as well. But we would have 250,000 viewers watching at any given time, and I used to think to myself, if I could just change one viewer's life in a positive way from one story every day, my job's done. You know, that's it. And it wasn't always having these really high aspirations of go big or go home, right? It was always just try to make a difference a little bit in a positive way every day, even if it's just one person or one area. So but definitely that order, it would be God, family, church, country, for sure.
I love that. And also, too, you're right, right? Life is made up in a series of moments. And so we do tend to focus on the bigger things, the big milestones, the
Hmm.
graduation from college, the marriage, the children, the career. But you're right, it's all the little tiny bits of the happy childhood, the gift that you received, the gift that you gave, the talk that you gave, the person that you mentored. It's all these little connect the dots that make all of those other big wins so much more special.
Oh, for sure. And hey, can I go ahead and clear up a misconception that's probably happening as your viewers see this right now?
Please.
And this is MT unplugged. Okay. My initials are MT. Everybody just calls me MT. And I'm just gonna have at
Please.
almost no filter at almost 55, MT unplugged. When people hear my story, they always think, wow, what a privileged girl. She's had such a great life. She's had such a privileged life. Um, I am here to tell you, I've learned how to make, lemonade out of lemons.
Good
I've
for you.
had my share of heartbreak. I've had my share of horribleness in my life. And I'm not saying it's any worse than anybody else's, but um, I have had alcoholism in my family, drug abuse in my family. I have been fired from a job. Me. I have been fired. I have never been fired from anything in my life. I was fired from a job and it was pretty nasty.
Wow.
Um, and it's that whole when you get knocked down, the how you respond and get back up is what you measure. We all have a sack of rocks, is what I'm trying to tell you. If you're watching this and up to this point you thought, oh, what a privileged white girl. She just, yeah. Let me just tell you something. Everybody has a sack of rocks, and everybody has got ick they've been through, but how you choose to respond to it, and not everybody can. Again, I was born with the joy gene. Don't ask me why. He gave me that joy gene. But just so that nobody thinks that I haven't had a taste of garbage in my life, oh, you better
Loss.
believe it.
Yeah.
Not unlike anybody else, but it's what you do with it and how you go
Oh,
forward with it.
I love that you brought that to the fold because you're right. Like you're right. There's a lot of assumptions. There
Mm-hmm.
are. Hey, I will confess that when I look at my life compared to some other people's lives, I think that I have done the equivalent of stubbing my toe, right? Right? Like my divorce was probably nothing compared to like some of the divorces out. You know what I mean? Like we've all been through stuff, but you're
Sure.
absolutely right. And isn't that the beauty of a story? Okay, you're a storyteller. You're doing it through children's books. You're doing it for the army. I'm doing it for businesses. Isn't it amazing how when we really there's the A reels and the B reels, right? And on Instagram and on social media, everyone's showing the highlights of the best parts, right? They don't show the stuff that's on the editing room floor, all the
No.
horrible crying in the closet kind of deal situations. But that is what makes a story so beautiful. It's
Hmm.
the this happened and this happened, but this happened.
Exactly.
Therefore, it transpired and translated and grew into this. And it's so fascinating, isn't it? Because storytelling is truly a gift, and it's so critical in understanding where people are coming from. So let's talk a little bit about your storytelling and what you're doing. All right, children's books to helping out with the army. I want to
Yeah.
unpack that a bit if you don't mind, because this is really
Sure. Sure. Can I give a shameless plug?
please, please, this is available for that. Yes.
So this is my character. Her name is America Johnson, and you know what? She's a budsy. Did you ever watch the show Shark Tank?
Oh, a Shark
You know
Tank, yes,
Shark
but
Tank,
I've never
right?
heard of Bugsy. Yeah.
So my illustrator and I saw someone pitching Budsy, Buds. It's a Budsy,
Okay.
and this is our character, America Johnson, and this was our first book called Liberty on the Loose in the White House.
Oh, how cute.
And they made this Budsy from here, right?
Get
And so
out.
whenever Michelle and I would go on uh, tour to Barnes and Noble have been very good to us. We've had 6 books published in the series. We've got 25 to date, and I mean, it's been fantastic. But everybody wants the America Johnson doll, and we're like, no, this is a prototype. You can't have her. And they're like, no, we'll pay for it. And I'm like, okay, look, it's a Budsy, and it's $90, and the only 2 people on the planet Earth that will buy this doll are our mamas. So you know, the issue that we're having is that we print in the United States, we have our dolls made in the United States, and I'm not shaming on anybody who does this outside the United States, but I can't have a series called The Spirit of America and then print and have things manufactured in China. I just can't.
I get it. It's on brand. It's perfect.
Sure, and trust me, if there were a way that that would work, if we could, change the narrative a little bit, I would, because I know a lot of people do that, and it's I think it's important for global economy, but I would get massacred and crucified in the media, and
Yes,
I'm
you
just
would.
not ready for that. I just don't have
Nope.
the bandwidth for that. I might have the bandwidth for it next year, but not right now. I just don't.
No, it's
So,
fine.
so America's talking dog, Liberty. This is Liberty.
Cute.
And the whole story, this was going to be one book. One book. When I was a reporter and I covered Capitol Hill and the Pentagon, I had a niece at the time who always wanted to go to DC with me, and I said, "Why don't we wait and we'll take a vacation, not when I'm working." So we planned this for a year, almost a year. And she was 12 at the time. And so we were in my car driving down the road one day and we were listening to CNN. And Barack Obama had just clinched the Democratic nomination for the presidency. So they were talking on the radio about potential cabinet members for him should he win. So I looked at my niece Samantha and I asked her, I said, Sam, can you tell me who makes up the president's cabinet? She replied without even a thought, why do I care who makes his furniture? I almost wrecked the car.
Oh, wow. Cabinet, furniture.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm asking
wow.
her who makes it because they're talking about who could be on the cabinet for Obama. And I'm like,
Oh, and you're
who,
right. For
can,
a literal 12-year-old, you're
and
right.
she was a straight A student. So
Of
I had this
course.
idea for this book, All American Girl, 9-year-old America Johnson from Warner Robins, Georgia, and the family takes a vacation to the White House and their dog Liberty gets loose. So they're literally looking for this dog in the White House. I don't want to give anything away. But
So cute.
but the last book is called Congress Has a Library, and she has to do a report at school on the world's largest library, and her dog Liberty meets up with 4 famous first dogs.
Oh,
There's Mopsy, there's Nixon's, Vicky, the toy, the poodle. I mean, so these dogs are helping her find the special place in the Library of Congress, which I don't want to give that away either. But uh, the whole premise behind this series is to save kids from themselves one day at a time.
I get it. I
We
get it.
we just want them to have a civics lesson earlier because most kids are getting a civics lesson in the 10th grade.
Yes.
Guess what they're doing in 2 years?
Voting.
They're
Yes.
voting.
And
They should
and
have all this stuff. So we want to be an aid to teachers and help them so they can tackle bigger things in the 10th grade. Let us handle all of this stuff at an earlier age and make it fun for them. So America Johnson takes kids on patriotic adventures. There's 6 volumes out there, spiritofamerica.books.com. And
oh my goodness.
we have a on our website, there's a cartoon short. We were the only learning tool for kids for the 2016 and 2020 election. PBS Think TV turned our third book called Your Vote Counts into a cartoon short because we actually teach kids about the Electoral College.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, so now we're kind of right before COVID happened. Our Hollywood agent who kind of quit us, he had to, COVID happened. We were looking to put together this um, um, animated show for kids. And we're not giving up hope on that. We still want that to happen, but it's been such a hurry up and wait situation because of
Mm,
COVID.
mm.
And you know, we're We're trying to find a new Daddy Rabbit too in the publishing world, which will happen. But because we've
Yes.
got, this is perpetual stories. I mean, when we go to book signings, we have kids that will show up. Kind of proud. We got a little posse of readers that follow us.
Nice.
And this one kid, Dustin, came to a signing in Dallas, and he came up to the table and he goes, "Let me ask you something." He said, "Have you ever thought about having America Johnson visit all the national parks? Because you know they're turning 100 years old next year." This was a couple of years ago. Michelle and I were looking at each other like, huh? And so that's how, we came up with more books. I mean,
Amazing.
it's just the younger reading audience is a wonderful tool to pick up on what you should do your next book. We've got one called "Is the Statue of Liberty Lonely?" We have one called "The Great Missing Flag Caper." It's all about the flag. It's really fun, by the way, to go on YouTube and look at these colleges and universities that have these brilliant students that are being asked man on the street questions about, I don't know, the flag, and they can't answer the questions. And I just cringe. And Michelle and I look at each other like, job security.
Yes.
Our books are intended for elementary school students, but truly 1 to 101 years old could benefit, because we're taking you on a patriotic adventure, trying to bring patriotism back, but it's more of a history lesson. And even above all of that, Jennifer, we want people to have an appreciation for where we live and what we're allowed to do. That's it. Just
Yes.
have an appreciation, because I think that certainly gets lost on a lot of people. I was just talking to somebody today, as a matter of fact, who just went to DC for the first time. They said, "Gosh, I never saw protesting going on like I saw outside the White House." I said, "I know." I said, "I lived there for a long time, and trust me, it happens all the time. There's a constant 24 hours a day, 7 days a week protest going on." I said, "But you know what? Whether you agree with them or not, we live in a place that's allowed.
Yeah,
And
that's a big deal.
thank goodness we have the right to publicly say, 'I don't like this,' or 'I want this changed.'" Go try doing that in other countries where you can get arrested or even killed for doing it.
Mm.
We that is a right and a privilege that we have here, and it's a wonderful thing. So I got off kilter there, but there you
No,
go.
no, this is great stuff. So then when you had the opportunity to work with the Army,
Hmm.
how did you, what are you doing for the Army in your writing? Are you doing it in a storytelling format, focusing on the actual individuals who have been
Sure,
hurt or
sure.
injured or sick?
Yes, and I will tell you this. There's a wonderful. It's the Army Recovery Care Program, and I'm so blessed to be a contractor working on that. But I will tell you what they are doing for our wounded, injured, and ill soldiers is just amazing. It's been around since about 2007, and just my 2 cents worth, me and you talking right here. When I meet these wounded, injured, and ill soldiers that are competing, by the way, and that's just one aspect of the recovery care program, they have a competition so they can compete to be on Team Army, and then they go compete at Warrior Games. And then from Warrior Games, they get put on Team US, and a bunch of them are going to go compete at Prince Harry's Invictus. This next Invictus is in the Netherlands in
Oh,
April.
wow.
But and I want to say there's one of the ESPN channels is going to be carrying the Invictus Games, but I encourage you to watch those when you can. I know the Olympics are on right now, and they're always fascinating to watch, and I'm always so impressed. But I got to tell you, you would really, really be impressed, and just the stories of these wounded, injured, and ill soldiers, their backstory of how they got to where they are. And I would put them up against any Olympic athlete any day that ends in Y. No kidding.
Wow.
No
Wow.
kidding.
I had no idea that. And that's so cool. I didn't realize that there were feeders into that. So I had
Yes.
no idea that the Invictus Games was all wounded veterans. Yes?
Yes, yes, they are
Wow.
so, and this is a true story as well. I posted about this back in December. Um, Prince Harry came to visit the Warrior Games because, as you know, he was in the Royal Army over in Great Britain. And he came over to visit and maybe to assist with awards or something during the 2012 Warrior Games that were being held in Colorado. And that's where Invictus was born.
Oh,
He thought, you
very
know what?
cool.
I want to do this for the world. So there are countries that have militaries all over the world that get together and compete. And this year it's at The Hague, and it's just amazing what has been put together and the camaraderie between all of these military services around the world. It's very heartwarming to see, and I really wish a network or somebody would pick this up and put it on television one day because man, oh man, you want to talk about inspiration.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
really cool. Oh my
So
goodness,
I
I
am
love
blessed all the way around to be able to do that. So
I love it. I love it. So if someone wanted to grow up to be as awesome as MaryTherese Griffin, or just wants to find the joyful side of life, what advice do you have for anybody who's watching who just wants to, overcome, whether it be a wounded veteran or just having a really crappy life? What would you say?
you know what? And again, going back to cliches, but it's true. It's just go back to the golden rule. If you will do unto others as you would have them do unto you, everything else falls into place. And if you stop and think about one little action that you're doing, and it may not be the best action or the best attitude towards somebody, but if you would just, love your neighbors as yourself, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, you will find that, in my opinion, everything else will fall into place. And just leave the negative alone. Leave the and that doesn't mean leave negative people alone, but leave the negative out of your life. And maybe there might be a reason that you are right there with that coworker that's negative, or with that, you know, uh, fellow student that's negative. It's not for your benefit; it's for their benefit. You have
Mm,
no idea how much of what positivity you're going to give off is going to change somebody's life. And if I had a dollar for every time I heard a story, whether I was involved in it or somebody else, that someone had an aha moment and paid attention to the positiveness coming out of someone, and it really affected them in a great way, and they ended up changing course in life. You're not going to change everybody's life, but why not make your journey the best that you possibly can, because you are the master of your own fate. You really are.
yes,
And if you decide, you know what, I am not going down this path, or this is the road I choose, and it doesn't mean it's not going to be hard. Hell, if it was easy, everybody'd do it,
right,
you
right.
know? But
And also, too, like you don't know what that kind word is going to do and manifest for somebody. Just be your best version of yourself. Do unto
yes.
others as you would have done to you, and then you never even know. You could be completely unaware of it. You might not even know that you did something miraculous until 20 years later when that person contacts you going, did you know that you inspired me too? Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it? So just do
And
what
that
you
is
can, huh?
the greatest feeling ever, to have somebody come back and say, you really made my day, or um, I saw you do blah, and I applied that at work, and you know what? This came out so much, just to know that you aided in the betterment of a situation or somebody else. I don't think you can ask for a better path in life. I really don't. And I know, again, let me have no filter right here. Somebody's going to look at this and go, oh, she looks at the world through rose colored glasses. Nah, I don't. It's just, again, it's that joy gene that I know I'm very blessed to have that not everybody does. But man, if I could just, throw it out there and share it with you, I would. So I'm gonna throw it right now. Somebody grab it, take it, and there you go. And see what, take it out for a spin. Take it out for a spin, you know?
Yeah.
Just
Oh my
just
gosh.
go be positive with somebody that you'd never think of being positive with ever and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? It's true. The things that you're saying, yes, I too have been accused of looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. It's like, and the problem with that is, like, why am I not allowed to have a lovely tint on my glasses? You know what I mean?
I know. Do you know
I choose to see the positive. Yeah.
one of my favorite fun things to do, and I know a lot of people do this, but I hope other people get more joy out of it than I do, but I love to pull up when I'm going through a drive-through and I'll see somebody behind me that has been, you could just tell that they're hacked off at the world. You could tell that they were screaming at the thing, whatever the case may be. And I'll say, whoever's at the window, I'll say, I want to pay for their stuff. And they're
Aw.
like, really? I'm like, yeah, I want to pay for it. And you just tell them that it's, be kind to a random stranger today. It's not. I just said that. And so I'll pull away and invariably I'll see out the window, they're like, yeah, hey, So if it made somebody else happy, you know,
Aw.
I drive away and I'm like, okay, got one.
Yeah. Pay it
Good.
forward. Pay it forward.
Got one.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But I
that's
mean,
so
oh my
cool.
gosh, it's just a couple bucks to do that. But if it's gonna, or somebody that you see struggling in an aisle at a store and you come up and you're like, hey, can I grab that for you? Yeah.
Exactly.
And just
Yeah.
something you normally wouldn't do. And the response you get from somebody, it's good for them, but it's great for you.
Oh, yeah. Even if you're just solving somebody's problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. Wow. Okay. All right. How do people get a hold of you? Okay, we're writing all this down. How do
Sure.
we find out more about you and how do we get your fabulous writing? Because America and Liberty, man, they are there. I have to go buy them.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the easiest way to get a hold of me is through my book series, and that's SOA Book Series at gmail.com.
SOA book series at gmail.com. And remind me
Got
what
it.
SOA stands for?
Spirit of America. And it's a
Love
little
it.
play on words because our character's name is America Johnson.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And her little dog Liberty. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
If anything, I know that I need to buy a couple of your books and send it to a girlfriend of mine who is starting a charter school on in Texas. That
How
this would
wonderful.
be part of the curriculum that she would love to have, civics lesson. That would be
We would
super
love that,
super fun.
truly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then also too, let's talk a little bit more about your daily uh, ad brief show again. It is, how do we find it again?
Oh, sure. It's Media Champions. And if you go to dailyadbrief.com, we have a
Media
series of shows on there. I'm a little partial to Media Champions because it's my show. But
Oh,
what we love to do on there, we interview subject matter experts like yourself to talk about the world of media and marketing. And I have to tell you, as much as I'm talking about it with our subject matter experts, I am such a sponge absorb because as you know, we're interviewing people from coast to coast, Canada, Mexico, and just for the viewer out there, our our subject matter experts are vetted and once we get the commitment that they will come on the show, we are just picking their brain. And it's
yeah.
it's so fascinating because again, everybody has a story to tell. Whether you have a business, whether you don't have a business, if you're living, breathing, and walking around, you are your own brand. So you can learn something from all of these shows just as an individual or as a business. And it's such a pleasure to meet everybody that has come on the show that shares their subject matter expertise. Number one, because they don't have to. They're all busy as snot and they're taking the time to
Yeah.
come be on the show
Isn't
and
that fun?
to spew this information. It's just great. But we're also networking and relationship building. I think is the key to everything in life, and
So
that's what we're
true.
doing. We're building it.
Yes. So everybody, go and build a relationship with Mary Therese because she's amazing. And
Thank you.
go watch the Media Champions after you watch Marketing and Beyond. But yeah, this is so much fun. And it's so funny. I have not had to worry about this, but I've had all this beautiful sunshine. And here we are. The sun is going down, and I'm noticing I'm getting darker and darker and darker. I don't have all my lights on. So let's just go ahead and end this on a high note. Everybody, thank you so much for coming and joining us. Truly, Connecting with Jennifer Filzen was born because I love connecting with people from all walks, from all experiences. And MaryTherese, honey, you have been phenomenal. I cannot wait to see you the next time I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, girl, it's going to be a dinner date and just, yeah, it's going to be tons of fun. What happens in the
Oh,
ATL stays in the ATL.
I really do love that area, and I have so many friends. Let's, growing up in Jacksonville, a
Mhm.
lot of us went to Florida State University. A lot of us went to University of Florida. I was a Seminole, and that 4 hour commute. I was dating people up at Georgia Tech, and a lot of my Tallahassee friends ended up going up to Atlanta. So it is kind of funny how Orange Park, Florida, north is the Atlanta region.
Right. Oh,
But no, truly, and yes, that whole area is just amazing how Atlanta has grown. And I love the Georgia Aquarium, and I got to go scuba diving in the whale shark tank.
did
So
you?
phenomenal.
I'm jealous. That's
Yes,
awesome.
it is worth every penny. It is. I've gone diving all over the world. I can easily say that that's one of the best dives, and it's like a half-hour dive in a million-gallon fish tank. Yeah, thank you, please. Yes, more.
It
I'll.
is so beautiful too.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I was going to tell you, and it's kind of the tongue-in-cheek joke here, but we have more movies were made in the state of Georgia last year than in Hollywood.
I have learned that. That's remarkable.
We give the most awesome incentives for people to come do their TV series here. Right down from my house, they have this new three ring studio. So I'm like 35 miles from Tyler Perry Studios, 35 miles from Pinewood, where they do all of the Avengers movies. Now I've got three ring studios. But do you know what they call us here? We're called Yollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Okay, that's hilarious. That
So
is funny. That is so funny, and that is so on brand. But
you just let us know when you come into Yollywood, girl.
okay. No, truly, I will let you know. I will make a date. I will make a date to come see you because Atlanta is just one of my favorite places. And the food, hello, boiled peanuts, birthplace of boiled peanuts. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, MaryTherese. You've been a phenomenal.
Jennifer, it is such a privilege, and I just love my new friend. Thank you so very much. I can't wait to see you.
Yay! All righty. You
Yay.
have a beautiful evening. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.